Here we go. Next item on the agenda is early college opportunities, high school transformation as presentation.
Thank you.
And then also, you know, we were, as an aside, I think we were all very grateful to our community partners and everyone that came out. But it occurred to me as I was taking part of my 10-minute break that none of this happens without somebody spearheading it. So I'd like to thank Dr. Garcia for helping, because she realized in our meeting 2.5 years ago, or whatever it was, seriously, we're all around the board table at La Fonda, and when this came up and we put it on the white paper and everything else, and now it's coming to fruition. And so this is super duper exciting, and so thank you very much for your efforts in pulling all these people together. So next on the agenda, here we go.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. So as you know, we restructured duties, and Team Santa Fe was born out of that. And Mr. Gephardt is in his new role. It's like, you know, I really want to work with this school, and I'm so excited about it. And we talked about it, you know, well, can we really pull away from community engagement and all the duties and want to do this work? So it's been an excellent marriage when we found us. I think we said our fabulous principal, Mr. Michael Hagley, and support from the assistant principal there, Kelly Rinaldi, and staff. But the things that are happening at ECO, and I've told some of you, you know, from time to time, it's not the ECO that you knew the year before. They have taken it to a whole new level, and it's come up from the staff. And I really, you're going to hear about it, but I just want to say to the staff, you know, you need a staff to play with. You can have leaders with great ideas, but if the staff isn't engaged, and this has really been an amazing example of transformation, and I'm glad that you use the word transformation. So thank you for your leadership, Mr. Gephardt and Mr. Rinaldi, the staff. Thank you for all you're doing for those kids in that program. And I'm very excited for you to hear this presentation tonight.
Board President Carrillo, members of the board, superintendent, I'd like to start by thanking you for this opportunity. The team has come out in full force, volunteered to come out. Nobody asked, nobody forced them to be here to answer any questions you may have. And they've been working extremely hard this first semester, or during the first semester and into this semester. So we want to thank you for the opportunity to share where we are and where we're going. So we do have an honorary Eco Eagle here, Peter McWayne, helping me out. I do appreciate that. Just a quick overview of the presentation. We're going to take a quick look at the data and what that tells us. We're going to talk about last summer because that was instrumental in helping set the foundation for where we are. We have expanded our partnership with the Santa Fe Community College, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the school transformation process and the 4 main components and our focus. The multiple opportunities in each pathway. This year we're doing everything we can to make sure that students have multiple opportunities and they're not just locked into any one career pathway. We're also going to discuss the City of Santa Fe Eco Partnership that came out of a meeting with the mayor and a need the city has. We're also going to talk about extracurricular activities because that's helping us build an identity, and we're doing those in true eco fashion, I'm proud to say. Associate Superintendent Christy Yonda Wagner will give a quick update on the general obligation bond campus improvements, and then next steps and the common vision. So last summer and into the beginning of this school year, we took a look at the data, and the first data point there is the current enrollment. The capacity of the school as is with the staffing we have is 150, and so we are down a little bit this year in enrollment. We're down to 112 students. We don't have an official graduation rate because we don't have a cohort that has gone through for 4 years at ECO. We're only in our 3rd year of existence. However, 32 of our 34 seniors last year did graduate. 2018 school grade was an F. 2017 school grade was an F. You can take a look at the The park scores here, level 4 and level 5, that's considered proficient and advanced in park. And this is based on our current student population, not last year's students, but our current student population. These are numbers that the data team here in Santa Fe Public Schools pulled for our staff so that we can see where our current students are. And then we broke it down even further from here. But just to give you an overview, if you look at the middle column there, you can see only 1% of our students are proficient or advanced in math currently, of the students who attend the Early College Opportunities High School. And then the park ELA levels, substantially better, but still not where we want them. 17%, if you add up level 4 and level 5 here in the ELA, are considered proficient or advanced. Now, we had a large staff turnover. We had a large student turnover over the last few years, or couple of years. You can argue that there was maybe a morale issue. We were trying to find an identity. We didn't really quite know who we were, and so this was the school that you know, at first when you looked at the data and you thought, well, wow, I mean, where are we and who are we and where are we going? I started having conversations with many of the folks who are here tonight. And I realized that there was a lot of potential and a lot of success and silos within that school. And I mentioned how last year 32 of the 34 seniors graduated. Ian Kinglet, who is not here tonight because he's actually working with our robotics students right now, he sold his prep so that he could help our students, and you could see how low they are in math, last year build foundational math skills, because how are students going to be successful in algebra and algebra 2 and geometry and everything else if we didn't have that? Jake Zagella, our star social studies teacher, who was in the paper yesterday, by the way, front page, he he had this cross-curricular approach to how he does social studies, and I was so excited after learning about his approach and the possibilities now that we're moving forward with a very much a cross-curricular, cross-disciplinary model and project-based model. Chris Carice and Esteban Ortega, two of our CTE teachers, they had a chance to share with you last year the success at the national level that they had in Skills USA. Chris Carice's partnership that he built up with the SEMA program. Karen Hagel, who was a volunteer, and we needed a science teacher, so she offered to go through the alternative licensure just so she could help us out. I mean, there was a lot of passion and dedication and these pockets of success. And so when you look at the data, that wasn't a true reflection on our school and what we had to start with. We had a dynamic team already in place. And so the summer of 2018, when Principal Hagley came to us, and he brought his wealth of experience in dual credit and career pathways, and a few more hires, we were able to start building the foundations for where we are today. And at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Principal Hagley to walk us through that foundation.
Thank you, Assistant Superintendent Gephardt. Good evening, President Carrillo, members of the board, Superintendent Garcia. It's great to see you. Great to be standing behind the podium again. I'm grateful for the opportunity to participate in this chapter of ECO's story. I've been a participant in conversations and initiatives around smaller learning communities, career academies, career pathways, career technical education. And for me, coming into where ECO is at currently and where ECO is very quickly heading with this team, feels like a lot of puzzle pieces are coming together. And for me, that feels like a culmination and very gratifying professionally. So I appreciate the opportunity to be a part of this. Just a quick overview of the school improvement approach that we're taking. An underlying principle is empowering the staff and partnering with the staff to identify the process and the changes that we're going to implement moving forward. We have, as Mr. Gephardt mentioned, a strong staff culture that was already present prior to me becoming the instructional leader at ECO. And so the strategy then is to leverage that expertise, leverage that energy and creativity that the staff already has and we have in place at ECO. Next slide, please. So we received a comprehensive school improvement grant, and there are three major components to how we're using that funding to work towards school improvement. The first is training, and the second is intervention Read 180 curriculum, and the third is common planning time. So I'll just take you through each of those briefly. For training and job-embedded coaching, we're working with an organization called International Center for Leadership in Education. And this organization is helping us learn about a rigor relevance framework, which is helping to increase rigor and relevance at the same time in our instruction, and those two concepts working together synergistically to improve student engagement, which of course will in turn improve student proficiency and performance. International Center for Leadership in Education, ICLE, worked with us 7 days prior to the start of school to take us through an introduction to the rigor relevance framework, which we continue to check in on and fine-tune as we progress through the year, and to assist the staff in developing the curriculum for this school year. So each staff member went through a process of taking a deep dive into the standards, identifying the priority standards for the courses that they would be teaching this year, and unpacking those standards, developing units of study, developing pacing guides to go along with their curriculum, so that they truly have a very, very thorough understanding of their curriculum, because they created their curriculum based on the framework that ICLE provided for us. The next steps with ICLE under the standards-based unit development is to begin having conversations around cross-curricular planning, and ultimately to be able to develop project-based units of instruction across the curriculum, so especially across core and trade the trades curriculums. We also have ongoing professional support and job-embedded coaching with ICLE, so we have a consultant that's coming out to do observations once every couple months and provide intensive feedback, one-on-one feedback with the teachers.
While you're looking,
Yes,
Michael,
ma'am.
at your notes, some of this sounds sort of jargony and probably doesn't sound very exciting to you, but it's super exciting work, and maybe you'll get into some of the projects later, I think, in the presentation and that work. But, and I've asked Mr. Gephardt this on numerous occasions, of would the school be this far along if you didn't have the time to meet beforehand, if we not had the money and the grant, because the school never had the opportunity. It just started so quickly, and they were just trying to do infrastructure stuff, and they never had an opportunity to really do this kind of in-depth planning to create those projects, right? And I'm looking at Chris and others that have been there for a while. You didn't have that opportunity, and had we not had this grant, and this is where, when the legislature is talking about providing teachers 5 to 7 to 10 days of additional professional development, you have to have that time for them to collaborate and plan. Particularly, and project-based learning is not only important for ECO, it's important for many of our classes in our middle and high schools, and even our elementary schools. And I don't think you would have, and of course you all made the best of the time. But so you might just want to talk to that. And how much was this grant, did you all say?
Yes, just a moment.
Approximately, it's what?
140,000. So thank you, Superintendent Garcia, and this was just some foundational pieces, but you're absolutely right that the time the teachers have because of this grant is where the real magic is happening, and especially with the energy and enthusiasm with the staff. As a smaller learning community, the staff is able to use this time to collaborate, sharing resources and ideas. We have a teacher who says, guys, can I give you an intro to donorschoose.org if you didn't know about that? Or guys, let me give you some information about Cornell Notes, because I think you probably want to use those in your classroom. So we have a lot of professional collaboration that's happening at that level. A lot of school-wide improvement conversations that have happened in our after-school collaboration meetings. And we meet every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for an hour after school. Ideas are organically bubbling up from the staff. The staff members asked about doing walk-arounds so that they could get into each other's classrooms. We're calling them walkabouts, and at least once a week we walk around in small groups and in a non-evaluative way, and the teachers don't even provide the other teachers feedback. They're just collecting ideas for their own instruction. The teachers had identified some priorities in terms of systems, addressing tardies and punctuality, students who appeared to be disconnected from the lessons, and came up with strategies to implement. With such a small group and with so much energy, the team is very agile and is able to come up with ideas quickly and implement ideas quickly and effectively as well. And of course, our discussions are data-based as well, using MAPS data, NWEA MAPS data, PARC data, grades, and attendance data as well. So the focus of our transformation, and sort of a recap, is emphasizing this increase of rigor and relevance in order to improve student engagement. And a lot of the other information in the presentation is going to speak directly to how we're doing that, engaging students in their education. But what we're working toward is developing an academic core that includes all of the core subjects, English, math, science, and social studies, in addition to the trades as its own part of the core. And the idea is to be able to help students demonstrate proficiency in Common Core standards, next-gen science standards, attributes of a graduate, and industry standards. So by getting students to that high level of rigor and proficiency in all those areas, we're giving students increased opportunities as graduates of high school, and even as current participants in high school, increased opportunities across their school day and school experience. We've also built in several levels of support for students' social and emotional needs. So we're working directly with the district social worker and a student support specialist who's on our site 2 days out of the week to help connect students with community resources and other school-based resources that will address any social and emotional needs the students might have, so that we can remove or diminish those as barriers to their instruction when they show up to school.
And I don't want to jinx you, Mr. Higley, but, so I'll knock on wood, and anything else I need to do, right, is that this year the behavior has been a marked improvement, I believe. The calls that I would get, and I know things happen, and no one is perfect, and you probably had a tough week, but there is a marked difference, I think, in just the climate of the school. In a positive way, yes.
Board President Carrillo, members of the board, superintendent, no, I agree with you wholeheartedly there, superintendent. I just hope you didn't jinx us, because we've been rocking and rolling. We've been rocking and rolling.
I hesitated to say something.
So a lot of what we talked about, this is the foundation, and it took us a while to build this foundation, because everything that we're doing, everything that you're going to learn about all of these different exciting pathways or opportunities that we've created this first semester in all of these pathways it really depends on what we're talking about here, and that is that academically rigorous college prep core programming. That's what's ultimately going to give our students, regardless of what path they're currently on, multiple opportunities in high school and then post-secondary. And so the components of the school improvement, you're going to see this throughout the remainder of the presentation when we talk about the different pathways we have in place. That academically rigorous standards-based core programming. You've seen presentations on, the World War I project that Mr. Zagella helped facilitate. I don't know if you read the article in the newspaper today and how our editor, Phil Casaus, described Jake Zagella's classroom as it'd be pretty easy to talk without reservation in Zagella's government class. To call it hip wouldn't be doing the classroom justice. You see this in Mr. Maylander's Level Up project that he stole from Google, and how the students look at self-exploration, self-improvement in a way that's Common Core, and it's linked to Common Core, and it's rigorous. And Mr. Maylander's also helped get funding for breakout boxes, so the students they have Common Core based sort of escape room style lessons that go on in his class, and they're really bringing it to life. And you see this, and Mr. Kinglet isn't here today, but our math teacher, and how he's working with Miss Rhonda Wesson here and the special education department to really make math, and you saw the test scores, but make it real and relevant and spiral these students up to whole new levels. And then Miss Hagel, our science teacher, and what she's doing in cross-curricular, interdisciplinary ways, where this current project that she's working on with our construction trades and our CAD class, where the students are actually redoing the landscaping on ECO by designing it in the CAD class and using the botany and the horticulture from the science classes, and it's just exciting. It's really exciting, and this is what ultimately is making the learning come to life for our students. And our students, when they come to us as freshmen and they're a 1 on Park, well, they're going to be a 2 when they're a sophomore on whatever the next assessment is, and then they're going to be a 3, and eventually they're going to be a 4, and these students are going to have multiple opportunities as we move forward. So I can't stress what Michael, Principal Hagley, was just talking about, that foundation and this first component, how important that is to what we're doing, and I appreciate that time and that effort and that teamwork on that. The second component to what we're doing is leveraging community partnerships. The community partnerships, ultimately, that you'll see throughout this presentation, provide real-world experiences for our students, a pass into post-secondary training, career opportunities. The third component is we want to make sure that all students have multiple opportunities at the school. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do when I grow up, so I can't imagine a 14-year-old knows exactly what they want to do, and we're going to put them on one path and make them stick it out. So we want to make sure there's multiple opportunities in our pathways. And then the final component, Principal Hagley alluded to it, and that's building those foundational skills: college advisement, career advisement, social emotional support, and so on. Okay, so one of the things that we did this first semester is we strengthened our partnership with the Santa Fe Community College, and starting in 2019-2020, our students who have exhausted the dual credit opportunities on our campus in the afternoon will be taking classes over at the Santa Fe Community College utilizing their state-of-the-art facilities. I want to thank Associate Superintendent Wagner for jumping in and assisting with transportation. Everything will be tuition free. And this is really going to provide our students who, as you're going to see here in a moment when we talk about our pathways, really a personalized high school experience. They're going to be able to move forward and pursue the certifications, the degrees, and the classes that truly interest them, In fact, we just had a student that came to Assistant Principal Rinaldi this week and asked about taking aquaponics classes, and so we're working with the community college and trying to provide that opportunity as we speak. So these are our 4 existing pathways. Now, we do have sort of branches that come off this a little bit, but basically we have Esteban Ortega is our welding fabrication instructor. We have an auto tech program. That's John Seymour, who is a highly effective English language arts teacher who came to us, and he's also highly effective at teaching auto tech. So there's a real cross-curricular component there. Auto collision, you all know Chris Carice, our sort of the patriarch of ECO. I think he graduated from the South Campus and never left. And then our construction sciences and sustainability teacher, Paul Motzinger, is not here today. There's the motto there: achievement through motivation, motivation through personalization. And you're going to see this a lot. Providing a personalized high school experience based on the interest of the students and their families. How do we leverage those community partners to do that? So if you go to the next slide, we have, these are some examples of how we do this. And these aren't the only examples, okay? I just wanted to provide some here. But if you look at the welding fabrication pathway, we solidified a partnership with the Los Alamos National Labs, and so students who complete the Santa Fe Community College welding fabrication certification, upon high school graduation, they gain automatic entry into the apprenticeship program at Llano. The apprenticeship program, because of the training they received at ECO, is only 2.5 years. After 2.5 years, they're making $35 an hour plus benefits. So ultimately, they're, you know, a 21-year-old who's making $70,000. That's more than our highest paid teachers make. And it's all based on this, leveraging this partnership and the education they receive at the Early College Opportunity High School. Now, there's other students who may be in the welding fabrication pathway, and maybe that's not their thing. Remember, we want a lot of flexibility in our pathways. So through that partnership that we have with the Santa Fe Community College and the expertise that we have in Miss Diane Pierce's CAD class, we're able to provide those students an exploration into engineering. And then if a student chooses to pursue engineering, they could start knocking out some of their general requirements towards a bachelor degree while they're in high school at the Early College Opportunity School, tuition free through the Santa Fe Community College. This goes back to, you know, that personalized high school experience based on the interest of the students. So just some opportunities that we provide there. The auto tech and the auto collision pathways, we have a partnership with the Ford Motor Company, and this is something that
Excuse me, did you skip the pre-engineering?
No, I believe I mentioned
okay.
how students could
Okay.
pursue the engineering through the welding fabrication degree at the community college. The Ford Motor Company partnership, this is really exciting. The Ford Motor Company is working with Chris Carice and John Seymour, and they're building this out. There's a need for auto technicians in the industry, and the way we're building it out, though, it's not just about the auto technicians or the auto collision, paint and body. Students get a chance to go to Capital Ford, and we had our first career day about a month or two ago, I believe, and they got a chance to shadow everybody, from the business management side to auto tech to you name it, the parts department. They got a chance to really see how the business works. And so it's not just about turning the wrench. There are a lot of students that want to turn the wrench. I was in there the other day, and these kids, there were some students that were so gung-ho. It was so cool to see how energetic and engaged they were. But then there's other students. Mr. Seymour, we saw him the other day. There's some other students that want to go more the business management. Through this partnership, they can. We have we're going to be piloting a new digital portfolio in this program where the students can use apps on their phone to show mastery in all of these different components of this credentialing. And the way it's set up the students can choose the sections that they want to show mastery. The credentialing sections are tied to the official Ford Motor Company training resources. Our teachers are very much facilitators in trying to help the students have those opportunities to show the mastery. Again, it's all done with apps on their phone. They can choose to go more like the business management side. They can choose to show mastery of brakes today. And it's captured through this new digital portfolio that we're going to be piloting through this program. Through the, go back one there. Through the this partnership, though, if you look at this, just to put a dollar amount, I like to put dollar amounts on this. Within 5 years of graduation, if the students go through this partnership, they take on the paid internships and then ultimately take jobs at the Ford, Capital Ford dealership. Within 5 years, students will be earning approximately $64,000. And then again, that's based on this partnership, leveraging the training that they have at ECO as well as through the internships. There's business management opportunities. I mentioned that. Students can pursue coursework through the Santa Fe Community College. We are going to be doing another SEMA build this year. I don't believe it's going to be a Jeep, but we are doing another a build. And then we also have through, I believe it's San Juan Community College, dual credit opportunities in auto technician. Then the construction sciences pathway, again, we have the partnership with the Santa Fe Community College. Students can earn the certification, whether it's residential, commercial. The certification covers both at the Santa Fe Community College. We are working with the Building Trades Advisory Corporation. Need to thank Peter McWayne for his work on solidifying the partnerships with the Santa Fe Community College as well as the Building Trades Advisory. We're going to be starting, we're planning anyway, a full site build next year where students go through the entire phase from the design all the way through to the sale. So they're going to be building the house, they're going to be designing the house, they're going to be marketing the house. It's an exciting partnership. We're finalizing the details of the proposal. But again, leveraging all of these different partnerships to provide the students that real world experience, the certifications, the pathways, the opportunities. We're also exploring automatic entry into an apprenticeship with the New Mexico Building Trades Council, very similar to that, the welding fabrication apprenticeship at Lannell. So we're working with the union, and we're going to be trying to work out a deal where upon completion of the Santa Fe Community College certification and high school graduation, they'd be offered, automatic entry into the apprenticeship program there. Expanding the sustainability program. We have Paul Motzinger, who's our construction science teacher. He is very talented, and so we have him spread thin right now. And there's a sustainability sort of component to ECO, and it's been there since the start of the school and its inception. There's been this idea of solar, of aquaponics, of greenhouses, and so we're exploring the sustainability program. And then also with Diane Pierce, our CAD teacher, exploring architecture opportunity, pre-architecture opportunities, architectural design, and offering those opportunities to our students as well. And the last partnership, and sort of, I don't want to call it a pathway, but it came out of a meeting with the mayor, and there's a need for police officers in Santa Fe. There's a shortage, and so the Santa Fe Police Department, Fire Department, EMS trainers are actually working with Jake Zagella, who has started a career exploration class. And the police, fire, and EMS trainers actually come out to ECO every day, and they teach third period as a career exploration. Our students will be traveling to the city's training facilities periodically, Partners in Education is paying for the transportation to make, to solidify or strengthen this partnership. Again, another example of how important these partnerships are in something like this. And you're going to be hearing about partnerships in the medical career pathway here in a moment as well. And so a lot of what we're trying to do is based on, you know, how successful they've been in that pathway. And we understand just how important leveraging those partnerships really is. And so what could this ultimately turn into? Maybe a pathway. We're not really sure. Right now it's a career exploration class. It's putting our students on the fast track into the public safety aide positions, which is that position before you are old enough to enter into the police academy. You can become a public safety aide in the city.
On that point, if you want to go back, when we met with the mayor and the police chief, and it was a meeting about, I forget what the meeting was about, but it turned into talking about this, was that if you, it's sort of like the grow your own. You know, the Santa Fe Police Department has had difficulty in recruiting. And if we can get people who already live in our community, who know our community, they're more likely to stay in the community and do that work. Which if they do graduate and go into this public safety aide position, they, you know, it makes their recruitment efforts that much stronger.
Okay, so next slide, please. So that brings us to extracurricular activities, you know, building the identity of the school. The staff and I, through various conversations, you know, we were talking about how, you know, we really need to expand extracurricular activities for our students. The Skills USA competitions, I believe that you're familiar with that, and we presented that. I actually want to take part in the second one as part of the Eco Eagles paintball team that we've started. We're actually taking on the Santa Fe Police Department in February, so that should be interesting and fun. And the First Robotics team, want to thank Miss Kelly Rinaldi and Ian Kinglet for bringing that to ECO. That is one of 10 teams in New Mexico, and it's really impressive to see students from all over, not just ECO, come together and participate in that. We're kicking around the idea of starting an ECO shifter kart team that races in Albuquerque next year. In the end, though, most of these aren't NMA sponsored, and so we are seeking sponsors. So for the thousands that are watching from home, we definitely need sponsors, businesses, or individuals who would like to sponsor us. This is the stuff that really brings it all together. You know, we have the academics, we have the career pathways, but you know, at a certain point, we need those extracurriculars. So anybody at home who would like to sponsor us, we appreciate it. Then the general obligation bond, campus improvements, I'll turn it over to Associate Superintendent Wagner.
So we've been working with Principal Higley and Assistant Superintendent Gephardt to complete the educational specifications this year. And that's a document that really summarizes the core delivery of instruction for a school, so you can have square footage requirements deriving any construction projects. It's really like a baseline data piece needed to build out new schools and do campus improvements. And so it will drive our master planning process for the first $10 million allocated to ECO from the 2017 general obligation bond. We are working on hiring an architect and engineer to master plan the site and prioritize those improvements. And the staff will be heavily involved in the order in which we do those improvements. We hope to complete phase 1 improvements between 2019 and 2021. So this will naturally fall in line with the wrap up of the final projects in our 2017 bond, and open ourselves up nicely for a phase 2, potentially from 2021 bond, if that is prioritized by the Citizens Review Committee and the Board of Education. It's a complicated campus with a lot of opportunities and a lot of challenges. We will have to do a fair amount of infrastructure work. The campus needs, better ingress and egress, and that's a fancy way of saying a way in and way out, with a lot of traffic involving students and staff, as well as buses. They need a new face and a core building to offer things like administrative services and places to house visitors and hold meetings, and they need some square footage to provide the student meal programs and physical fitness programs. So there's a lot to consider in addition to all these fantastic program needs that you're hearing about. So it's going to be a fun project, but challenging. And $10 million, I believe, will just get us our first step in the right direction of improving the campus to meet the future build-out for ECO.
In my understanding, Ms. Wagner and Mr. Gephardt and Mr. Hagley, that the initial consultation with staff was to try to create spaces that are flexible enough so that 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you're able to adapt to various needs, right? I mean, that we're trying to make the spaces flexible.
The whole concept behind supporting the early college model will require us being very futuristic in our thinking about how a lab can provide optimal instruction space for whatever trade becomes, a need in our community. So we will have to look at really flexible environments, but as a base, we have to look at space that, first of all, has enough room to move around, but then it has that element of sort of containment when you need to have the more intimate setting of direct instruction, but it has the right level of electrical capacity and environmental controls to do really big things, right? So it's complex, and it will have to incorporate futuristic technology and just the ability to really adapt for whatever's coming in the industry and whatever rolls out from these partnerships, because I imagine those will evolve as the campus and the school grows. So we'll be looking at some spaces across the country where they've supported similar programs and having the futuristic eye that you're talking about.
Okay, and then, so next steps, one of the things that we'll be doing with our freshman recruits this year, entrance interviews to create that personalized high school plan with parent input using something like, actually that should be Major Clarity, not Majesty, I apologize for that, or Navion, some kind of platform like that will really help us work with the parents and the students to create that personalized high school plan. Cross-disciplinary, rigorous, and relevant core classes. Principal Hagley alluded to this, and I can't stress that enough at our next boot camp, just how important that is for our students to really build up all skill levels, whether it's the knowledge and the skills in the trades or the skill levels in English, language arts, math, science, and so on. We are going to hire a guidance counselor. We've been working without a guidance counselor the entire year, and that's going to be instrumental to what we're doing. And so we do have a couple of candidates, and we're extremely hopeful because how important that position is going to be with what we're doing. We are also, the county assessor, Gus Martinez, we were in a meeting with him the other day, and he would like to hire our students who are seniors and who have met most of their graduation requirements and have free periods in the afternoon to take on paid internships in the afternoon. And so we're working out the details of that. Again, leveraging community partnerships. And then something I'm extremely excited about, and I hope that we can find the funding again for those of you who are watching from home. The 2019 Eco Go-Kart Challenge Summer Camp. We have a tremendous amount of opportunity here for our students. whether it's the pathways, the community college partnership, you name it. We need to introduce ECO to the world over the next 6 months. We need to let Santa Fe know who we are and what we're doing. And one of the ways that we want to do that is we want to get parents and students on our campus over the summer. Again, stealing from the Scrub Club here idea, getting middle schoolers on our campus so they could see what we're all about. And how we're going to do that, if we can find the funding, is the Go-Kart Challenge summer camp. Teams of 5 middle and high school students will apply science through the use of the engineering process to design, build, and race go-karts. Students will learn and apply the scientific principles regarding gear ratios and centrifugal force, friction, air-fuel mixtures. I'm even hoping to teach that class. As they research, design, build, test, and redesign go-karts, we'll have a big single elimination, a bracket style, road course set up where students get to compete, parents can be on campus, we'll give out prizes, fastest kart, best use of the engineering process, best paint, fastest pit crew. We're going to make it fun, but educational, learning by doing, and that's how we do it at ECO. We are seeking sponsors. And so we found a certain amount of funding, but we are seeking sponsors for that. That's going to be integral to, the success of the program, and that is sharing who we are with the public and letting people know what the opportunity is. And so if we can go to we do have a recruitment video. This is the first draft of the video, and it's just a short little video to put some visuals to what we're talking about. And I want to thank Joe Beta for busting this out so quickly with us. And so if you want to go ahead and just play the short.
With a foundation of career and technology readiness, the Early College Opportunities High School strives to create strong leaders, entrepreneurs, and artisans through engaging and innovative hands-on education opportunities. Students are encouraged to find their passions, and teachers are encouraged to shape the curriculum and teaching methods to fit students' needs and interests. At ECO, our students achieve through motivation, and motivation is created through personalization. We offer courses in welding and fabrication, auto tech, auto collision, and the construction sciences as students work towards industry-recognized certification. Students also have the opportunity to attend classes on the Santa Fe Community College campus in the afternoon as they begin their pursuit of a 4-year degree tuition-free. Through innovative partnerships with organizations like the Santa Fe Opera, students may apply math and science in real-world projects, while also receiving an academically rigorous college prep core program in English language arts, math, social studies, and science.
We have developed all of our pathways by leveraging partnerships with the business community in a way that offers our students opportunities to earn certifications and a direct line to a career based on the interest of each student. By offering students options like these, we are creating a personalized high school experience for each student. In short, at ECO, we are preparing students for life by blurring the lines between high school, college, and career. If you are interested in free college credit, academically rigorous hands-on learning, and a chance to get a head start in a career, 4-year college degree, or path to an entrepreneurial opportunity, go to eco.sfps.info for more information about the Early College Opportunities High School.
So to head back to the. So it's just putting visuals to what we're already doing, and we need to share this with the world. And so the recruitment, the open houses, the visiting the 8th grade classrooms, we're going to be hitting that hard this spring, and hopefully we have a full freshman class, and as we build this out and share these opportunities, the staff created a common vision during our curriculum boot camp that I just wanted to share, because that curriculum boot camp, I don't know if you guys remember, it seems like years ago now, but we kept going back to who are we and what do we, I mean, we had a mission from the district, but what could this school really be? And so we're not where we want to be yet, but we've turned a corner. and we're gaining speed. So I just wanted to share this vision with you. With a foundation of career and technology readiness, ECO strives to create strong leaders, entrepreneurs, and artisans through engaging and innovative hands-on educational opportunities. By establishing a culture of excellence through high aspirations and personal expectations, our diverse lifelong learners will lead the charge in established and emerging fields. ECO students will use critical thought and emotional intelligence to be service-minded citizens in Santa Fe and the global community. In short, ECO prepares students for success in college, career, and life. Those are not just words. That's what we live at ECO. On that note, we'll stand for questions.
Mr. Garcia?
Yes, due to time, actually, I'm just going to make my comments very short. Thank you for everything you all do for ECO. That would actually, as an individual who went there and attended VOTEC with many, many of my friends that actually are very good, good example is the Custom Craft Body Shop located off of I-25 and State Road 14 there. My friend Robert Gallegos, Chris knows him, he attended VOTEC. His father-in-law was Mr. Meir, who actually did huge partnerships, actually, for all of the people, for machinists up in the laboratory, and on and on and on. So there has been a lot of stuff that has been actually happening at VOTEC ECO for many, many years. And just based off of the presentation, there's a lot of stuff happening out there for 112 kids. And I actually need to go on a field trip out there. I want to go see all this stuff happening because I want to see all this stuff happening, and great stuff. It seems like it's really great. One of the things I would actually like to see, Jeff, is all this great stuff that's happening out there, we should put it on our webpage, and we should actually somehow get it a little bit more marketable to, like you said, or you mentioned earlier, to what, the 5th graders, 6th graders, and possibly the kids that, because I have a lot of kids in my district that actually have a challenge in getting forward and moving academically through the school system and through the actual college. And you're not going to get a computer to change a tire. You're not going to get a computer to do some body work. And these type of vocational schools are definitely needed throughout the country, the entire country. One of the things I would actually like is to ask Christy if she could actually somehow find, as Maureen Cashman, board member, Vice President Cashman can remember, we already did a study under one of the previous superintendents, Bobby Gutierrez, and we paid $100,000 to actually outline what a vocational school in this area would entail. And sure, I understand it's an old study, but they're probably the same type of items that are needed today in the type of lifts that we use, the type of body shop, the type of painting, the type of guns, welding. I get it. And so maybe somehow somebody could try to find that. That would be great. But definitely great presentation. Thank you for what you do. You guys deal with the students that actually are still going to need to run our country, still going to need to work for the city of Santa Fe, the county. And because, like I said, you're not going to get a body shop guy that's a computer's going to sit there and fix this or do this, or a female for that matter, to actually be a florist or whatnot. Thank you.
Ms.
We
Cashman?
work on cars. Yes.
I just want to let the board know, and the teachers and the students, I sit on the Citizen Review Committee, and I know that if you've been in the district for a long time, you see how bond money gets shifted back and forth depending upon what our current needs are. But I do want to let you know that the members of the Citizen Review Committee have a strong desire to make this work for you. And so you can maybe rest assured that your money isn't going to be reallocated someplace else. The committee really is supporting this, and we know you don't have enough, but the voters did decide the 10 million, I think you could probably think that's probably pretty much protected, and knowing that you're going to need more. So I just wanted, because I know there's a lot of nervousness about, well, if we don't hurry up and get on it, but I just want to let you know that at least the citizens on the Citizen Review Committee are strongly committed to seeing the success of the school.
And just really quick, Mr. President, on that note, always keep in mind that the voters in 2017 actually voted for that $10 million for that school as well. So it's on their radar as well.
Additional questions? Ms. Noble?
I want to go to ECO now. anyway, just thank you to everybody for sticking through it tonight, and more importantly, for what you do every day for the kids who attend, and for really believing in the vision, and that it can be interesting and different, and pursuing different ways to learn. So I just really appreciate all of your commitment and continued work at ECO. Thank you.
And Board Member Price?
I see we got the other Miss Price back. They used to call her Miss Price, and they used to call me Miss Pierce. And I said, well, we look so remarkably alike. Thank you for all you do. You took that pit of a building, and you're working on it. And there's a young man who's in college now in California who flunked out of ATC and flunked out of Santa Fe High, and you put him on the right path. And he's excelling in the University of California and doing very, very well, and you'll have yourselves to blame for that. And we like that kind of blame. Thank you so very much.
Mr. Garcia?
Also really quick, once again, if you could just get the county involved. We do have an aggressive sheriff, actually, it's been newly elected, he'd totally be for it. We have our fire department as well as the city, so if you could just keep that in mind. And then also, I think we mentioned somewhere that the staff is, I would like to see how we get the kids involved in this whole, moving this ball forward. Because it doesn't seem like there's anything in the presentation that actually says the kids were involved or how they're involved or questioned, but I would just like to see that. Thank you.
Okay, so I have a couple things on page 3. First, thank you very much. I'm going to echo what they said. I think you guys are doing remarkable things, and the school's come a really long way. And quite frankly, I mean, I would say I have very high expectations for it to come a lot further, because there is the 10 million, and we made that promise. And I know that, Chris, you were here that night. I don't know if you were, Kelly. Mike, it's so nice to have you back with the district, because Michael was here when we were having the meetings in the Commons around pathways just in general in 2012, right? I mean, just when all these things are being kind of ideated at that time, if you will. So right now, 112 students. I mean, as we see the programs grow, what are we thinking long-term in terms of amount of student body at that school?
President Carrillo, members of the board, superintendent. So currently, with the facilities we have and the staff we have, we could take up to approximately 150. Working with Associate Superintendent Wagner and her team, as well as Principal Hagley and Assistant Principal Rinaldi, we have looked at a facility that we could double our size, approximately 300 for an academy or a high school like this.
Okay. I mean, I think larger in terms of opportunities that'll grow and number of kids that'll be interested. With just being ready for that, I would caution us, no pun intended, not to make a capital mistake. And the reason I say that is my own feeling is that when they were planning out Capital High School and the property, it's like, who was thinking that we'd never grow beyond 800 kids at this school, right? Who was so narrow-minded as to not think that Santa Fe was growing, because this is the mid-'80s, end of the 80s, right? That they only planned a school and a property and a gym that could only hold this, so-and-so. And I mean, that school was really so under-thought out and developed that it's created a huge financial burden on the district in terms, I don't want to say burden, challenge in bond money and everything else. So I would encourage, think big, because if you build it, they will come. They will come. Okay, we see that in all of our schools, especially people coming to the middles and the high schools. So think big, so we don't have to keep expanding and using more bond money. Because I see it easily being 500 kids at some point. Seriously. We're going to take all the kids in the privates that don't want to go to an Ivy League school or whatever. They want to build things, right?
And Board President Cadillo, if I could just chime in there.
Of course.
We have had 2 students from St. Mike's recently transfer to us, and a student from, I think, the Virtual Charter Academy who is interested as well. So we are gaining some interest in that
And we'll
regard.
continue
So,
to, because there's no question you have a great program happening. not sure what page this would fall on, but I'm curious because I brought this up numerous times when I was on CRC. Where are we fitting machining into the programming? And the reason I say that is there's no question that there's amazing opportunities in welding. Someone was telling me that somebody that wants to be, it was my son at the time because he was at ECO the first year. If somebody wanted to be one of the, like an underwater welder, people that work in shipbuilding and everything else, I mean, these guys make over $100,000 a year. I mean, they're just in such high demand because it's such a special skill. You know, you start out here. Where's machining fitting into things? Because I know people that I work with, clients of mine, and I've said this in CRC, they can't find machinists in Albuquerque. We can't find people to build things on high-tech machining equipment. They recruit people from out of state. So,
Board President Carrillo, I agree. I grew up in a machine shop. My dad was a machinist. Esteban Ortega and I talk about what we're going to do to bring that back at ECO. Right now, we're not there. We've tried to be very strategic in this first semester. A lot of what you saw is what we built in that first semester. To go back to Secretary Garcia's point, we're to that point now where we have a lot in place that we can now market, that we can now share with people. We didn't have that first semester. Machining is on our radar. We do think it's important. Where does it fit? We just want to make sure that we're very strategic and not going sort of shotgun effect on the way we're doing things, because like I said, we're building momentum right now, and so we don't want to spread ourselves too thin. We want to build out what we have in place so that you know, our academies, you know, rival the medical career pathway, and so it is on the radar though, and it is something that we think is important as well.
and I would imagine as people start to upgrade their facilities and machining in Albuquerque and elsewhere in the state, that they would have equipment for us to be able to use. But this is like the think big thing, right? An area so there can be machining, so that it doesn't end up being like, you know, an afterthought. Page 13, you should reach out at some point to, maybe not during this particular session, Representative Linda Trujillo, because she was trying to move forward plans, possibly with a bill, that where the state would sponsor pathway programs in public safety. And so you have an incredible ally with Representative Trujillo, and she said specifically, and we talked about it, around our ECO program piloting. Yeah, no, she's pretty amazing, the work she does. So you answered the question on the CART team. How cool is that? You should be able to get sponsors, automotive sponsors like Toyota Racing and everything else. And the whole idea that they're going to design, build, and race their own cars. Híjole, I want to go to ECO too. I mean, it's like, because I have a friend, he's built his, he went through the master's program, then he went to the San Juan Community College, because they have a good automotive program there. He's built his own draft race car. And you probably know him, Chris, because it's a small community. And Lucas, yeah. And he's going to be racing, and he built his car, and it's just like the coolest thing ever. And that was just through certifications, programs like Chris has, and programs like at San Juan Community College and what we have. So you were getting ready to say something, I could tell.
I just wanted to point out how excited we are about that as well.
Yeah.
And that our auto tech teacher is skipping out on the birth of his grandchild so that he could be there this summer to work there. That's how much he's excited.
Have you torn apart my old Volvo yet? I haven't gone over there to see it. Are you using it for anything?
I believe I believe it's actually running.
Well, it was running then. It was just transmission. I just said, here, take this. You guys have it and do whatever. Ms. Price, Board Member Price.
And Ms. Randall, did you see the panels on that cart? Yeah, solar panels.
Oh, and President Carrillo, if I could just chime in
Of
there.
course.
One more exciting thing. We do have an electric car, an actual car out there, and Chris Carice's kids are designing a cool paint job for it. And so you'll see an electric car that's powered by solar panels. It's recharged through solar panels, probably with some really cool flame job and Eco Eagles all over it. It'll be out on the streets here probably within the next few months.
Have it at the next July 4th car show, too, on the plaza. Page 15. So I would, whether you do it or not, it's all up to you, but I know that the people who designed and built the Aviation High School in Houston, I mean, Houston has a CTEC program around aviation. It's Houston, right? And it was unbelievable. And I know that there are architects, I know that we've used a lot of different people over my tenure on the board and before, but there are architects and designers who specialize in CTE, and I know you probably know that, but I mean, just being at this, this Houston High School for Avionics, it was just unbelievable. And the same thing, thinking big, thinking future, everything you were talking about. So I just wanted to, I had that comment there. Excuse me, healthcare, I think we're going to talk about it in the next thing, and whether or not that integrates into Santa Fe High or ECO. And then, let's see, we've got that, vision, that. Who we are, it's funny, who we are and where we're going. So I brought this up several years ago when I was on CRC, branding. And I know we have amazingly talented kids in our graphics arts departments at both Capitol and at Santa Fe High, but just really pushing the whole branding of the school. And I'm not personally a great fan of the name ECO, but tonight with your video, you moved me a little bit, because I think it sounds like a college prep school. But the video kind of shifted me a little bit in another direction. But whatever we're going to do, let's decide on it and brand it heavily, so the community knows what the heck is going on, because right now they don't. I mean, there are people that work for Santa Fe Public Schools that have asked me, what the heck's ECO anyway? Board Member Price.
And you have sitting in the audience, teacher who, Ms. Price, who helped design the logo for Capitol in her CAD class. I remember that. He thinks he should get money for that, too.
Royalties. So this is super exciting, and I would agree with, thank you for the presentation. I would totally agree with Ms. Cashman that, the money is safe for now. I mean, because for me tonight, I've seen the movement that I wanted to see. Because if it wasn't what I wanted it to be tonight, I would have, I just would have been more easily swayed by CRC coming to us and saying, we're going to borrow $2 million here and $1 million there, because we weren't seeing enough growth. So I want to thank you all very much for the work you do. It's very clear the difference you make. I know that we're going to see the academic growth. I'm not really even worried about that, because when you inspire kids in terms of what's relevant and what they love, you're just going to see the academic growth. It's a byproduct of just showing up and, being inspired by y'all.
Just really quick, Mr. President.
I think that's it for my questions and/or comments, Mr. Garcia.
Just really quick, once again, the work that you do for these kids is just amazing. I was just thinking through my head, in the construction industry right now at Facebook in Valencia County, Los Lunas, there's over 3,500 electricians. Just in Albuquerque alone, they can't find electricians because everybody has gone and started working for $37 an hour for Facebook. Plumbers, the laboratory up here is actually taking all of the plumbers from this town, and they're all working up there now, making a lot more money. So the importance of the trades that we have in this community, we could go on and on about this stuff. So thank you for the great job.
Construction trades,
for the kids.
plumbing, all that stuff, yeah.
And Secretary Garcia, if I could just chime in there, not only are we doing it in a way where we're providing the workforce, but we're doing it in a way where we're actually cultivating the future business leaders, the entrepreneurs, the industry leaders. And so that's really our hope.
I do want to say something to the staff. I think it was Ms. Sink and I. We met with you guys, what was it, last spring? And they shared with us an inconvenient truth. And that's hard for people to tell you some of the problems you were having and your frustration and your disappointments. And I want to thank you for that, because we were able to really hear from you firsthand of where we were and what we needed to do. And they really care about the school. I really want to thank the staff, and I want to thank the leadership. It takes a marriage, a combination of great leadership and great staff that really work together on behalf of the students and community we serve. So my congratulations to the staff and to the leadership. You guys have done an amazing job, and we're so proud of you. The growth that has happened since this summer to now is phenomenal, and the sky's the limit. I'm just excited to hear about what happens after next semester, where this is really taking root. So congratulations to everybody.